What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Jared, and this is going to be episode number 1 of our poker vlog. I'm here at Alms Park in Cincinnati, Ohio for the intro. This vlog is mainly going to consist of mid, sometimes higher stakes Hold'em and PLO. I have no real editing experience, so it's going to be a slow process creating these. Probably only release a video every couple weeks to a month. Probably only record once every couple weeks. However, when we do record, we are not going to be results oriented. No matter what, we're going to roll with it. And it should be pretty interesting, should be pretty entertaining. And I am glad you guys are here for the start of this journey. Alright guys, we are in the car here on our way to Spades Card Club, about to play some 2-5 Hold'em tonight. It is 300 to 1,000 buy-in, 75% match the stack. We will be buying in for the max and matching if we need to, trying to play deep. We will be playing from about 7:30 till about 1:30, give or take. But yeah, this is the main place I play. Really chill spot, low timed rake, really nice chips, and overall just a really nice spot to play. Our first hand here, we look down at Ace Jack of Spades and open to 20, and only the button calls. The flop is 10-5-4 rainbow. We check, decent showdown value, and he checks it back, and turn is an ace. Always betting here, so we go ahead and bet 20, about half pot, and he calls. River is a deuce, and it's unlikely he has a 3, but it is possible given he's on the button, and I doubt we get called by worse, so we check, he checks it back, and we win. This next hand is an interesting one. We look down at pocket queens in the small blind, button opens to 20. We go ahead and 3-bet to 90, want to size up a little bit here, being out of position. The villain in this hand is a solid thinking player. He goes ahead and calls. The flop is Jack 10-7. This is a particularly bad flop for us. He has all the sets, 2 pairs, even 9-8 suited, so we go ahead and check, and he checks it back. Turn is even worse, another jack. Now all of his jacks beat us, which easily could have checked back on this flop, and he now bets 125. About 2/3 pot. Not a great spot, but our hand is just too strong, and after checking this flop, our hand is under repped, so we are calling, so we go ahead and put in the call. River is a complete brick, 5 of diamonds. We check, and he thinks a bit now before deciding to bet 400 here, almost a full pot size bet. This is a terrible spot. Having queens here, we block the main bluff he could have, which is ace queen, trying to get us off of ace king. Also king queen, queen 9, basically every bluff contains a queen, so having queens is just like terrible. I would rather have 9s here honestly and be unblocking ace queen and ace king. So it's a rough spot, but in the end here, I just decide to fold, as I could easily have aces or kings myself here, or queens like I have, and he's still just blasting away, so it's a tough spot, but ultimately we decide to fold. This next hand is pretty straightforward. Short stack opens to 20. We 3-bet huge, trying to make sure no one else calls. He shoves, we call. And we chop versus ace king. Next hand here, we look down at pocket nines. There's a straddle to 10 under the gun. and we opened to 45 from the low jack. The big blind and the straddle will both call. The flop is ace king king with 2 clubs. Definitely not the best flop ever, but it is a very good flop for our range. So when both players check, we go ahead and bet 40, about 1/3 pot. Only the big blind calls. Turn is the 4 of spades, complete brick. He snap checks it. We don't want to just snap check back ourselves. We want to at least act like we're thinking about something. So we think for a sec and check. The river is a 6. Praying he checks. He does. And we just check it back and we take it down. Guessing he's had missed clubs or 10 jack or 10 queen or some type of misdraw. This next hand is immediately following the previous hand. We look down at king 10 of diamonds and open to 20. The small blind and the big blind both call. The flop is queen 10-10 with 2 clubs. Both players check, and we are going to continuation bet here. We bet 1/4 pot. We bet 15. And only the big blind calls. Pretty loose, splashy player. Does a lot of weird shit, like when he randomly donk bets here for 25. I never really think he has a flush, so definitely raising this. I raised a 60. I don't want to raise too much because with the flush out there, I still want him to be able to call with the worst hand. The river is a complete brick, 5 of hearts. He checks. Definitely going for value here. We bet 70. And he tanks for a while and eventually folds. And we win. There's a raise to 20 from early position, and we look down at pocket queens from middle position. We make it 80, and they fold. We look down at a couple suited cards here, 7-4 clubs, and raise to 35 after the cutoff limps. We get 3-bet, and we are out. After being card dead for at least 30 minutes, we finally look down at pocket kings. We raise to 20, and everybody folds. A few hands later here, we look down at pocket 4s on the button and raise to 20, only the big blind calls. And the flop is the magical 9-3-4, but before we can even reach for our chips, of course he folds. Hoping to finally get some fucking action here. We look down at ace king and we get 3-bet by a short stack. He's got less than 200, so easy decision, all in.
I got queens.
Once or twice?
Once.
All right.
The classic confrontation.
Yeah.
Is it once?
Yeah, there's A's. Nice end.
Looking to build on our momentum here, we look down at pocket aces, the angels, and we raise to 15. Folds around to the button, a pretty tight older player, and he 3-bets us to 45, so this is great news for us. We click it up to 115. And he thinks for a bit before deciding to call. So putting him on a very narrow range here. Queens plus, ace king, maybe ace queen suited, maybe pocket jacks, and he's about 450 effective with us. The flop is queen queen 9 with 2 clubs, so it's honestly almost better there's 2 queens since it cuts down on his combinations of pocket queens. So we sized down here, trying to get called by kings, ace king with the king of clubs, maybe pocket jacks. And he puts in the call. The turn is the king of diamonds, so not really sure what to do on this card because I was really putting him on pocket kings, but since I bet so small on the flop, he can easily still have ace king here. So I need to bet and make sure that we get the money in versus ace king, so he would probably check back given the 2 queens on board. So we bet 105. And he shoves. Pretty sure we're beat, but we snap call. There's no way we can fold here. And get shown the bad news.
Fine.
Next up here, we got the 10-5 of spades. We're kind of tilted. Fuck it. We make it 20 and get a bunch of calls. What did I make it pre-flop? I made it 20. 5 people call. Let's bet 130.
That game was just amazing.
Call.
I mean, yeah, that space
but
play,
we
you
don't
know, it's a
have a- no, no, no.
full-blown monster.
No, it's not. We
It's
literally
literally top set over
It's
here.
not. We literally don't have.
I don't have top set. Run it twice.
You want to run twice?
I have 2 pair.
We can run twice.
Yeah.
I do have a 18. Made it.
Boat.
Awesome. Full-blown monster.
Damn, son.
The wrong club.
As you can see, even with flopping an absolute monster, it's still a coin flip against this combo draw, so just goes to show you that when you play shit like this, it's hard to have people completely dominated. Moving on here, we look down at ace 4 of hearts in the cutoff. There is a limp from early position, and we isolation raise to 40. This is a pretty loose, splashy player, so we're looking to get a heads up with him. And it folds around to him, and he calls. The flop is 10-5-4 rainbow. He checks, and we check it back. Turn is the ace of clubs, and he quickly bets 50. We consider raising here, but we want to keep in his bluffs, and in case we're beat here, we're just going to call and evaluate river. The river is absolutely terrible. 7 of clubs, probably the worst river in the deck, and he snap bets 110. This is not a great spot, but our hand's pretty under-repped, and he could potentially be value-ending himself here with a worse hand. It's a pretty loose player, so even though I don't really like this spot, and I probably think I'm beat, I'm not folding, so I go ahead and put in the call. He says 2 pair, and we have a better 2 pair. We win. Our last hand here, we look down at 10-9 of clubs. There's a limp from early position. Cutoff makes it 20, and we defend our big blind. Limper calls, and we are 3 ways to the flop. The flop is 9-8-3, and everybody checks. Turn is the jack of spades, and everybody checks. River is the king of diamonds. It checks over to the cutoff, who now bets 40. and he's definitely capable of bluffing here. And after checking this whole way, I think we just have to call here. So we go ahead and call. Fold, and we win versus 5-4 clubs, and we scoop this final pot of the night. That is gonna do it for us in the game for 1,000, out for 1,200, profit of $200 for the night. We played from 7:30 to 1:30. Definitely wasn't the most action-packed session by any means. A lot of the guys that make this game deeper were not here, so in the future there will definitely be some bigger pots and some crazier hands, but either way, I still thought it was an interesting session, and I thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next episode.